gone. You sanitizing the headset. Yeah. So, all right, we'll just touch on entrepreneurship, business, finance, businesses that you do, don't do, things you might want to do.
There you go.
All kinds of things.
Sounds
Advice to a couple young guys wanting to make advancement.
Okay.
Right? How to make money, how to be better entrepreneurs, how to chase excellence in those types of things.
All right. See where we can go from there.
Is that your phone?
My phone? Oh, yeah. Make sure I turn my phone off. You don't have to worry about my phone. It's this guy over here, like every 5 minutes in the podcast, will be like, bring, bing, bing, bring, bing, bing, bring, bing, 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 bing. He's like,
Uh-oh. Forgot to shut that down.
Yeah.
oh, man, it's all good. We have a good time, though. Have you watched any of our podcasts?
No, I haven't.
You should try it. It's a really good podcast, Raj.
Is it good? So how do you distribute it? How do you get it out there?
Everything you can think of. It's on YouTube. So we post a link to like social media sources like Facebook, Instagram. But then it's actually can be watched on YouTube. So if people want to watch, I like to watch podcasts because I like to see people's facial expressions when they answer. Yeah. But it's also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and do like Rocket. There's like a dozen different podcast platforms that it distributes to.
Okay.
So
cool.
Pretty much wherever you find podcasts, you can listen to it.
All right.
So it's all over the place. So don't say anything
Sounds
bad.
good.
Don't say anything bad.
I try not to.
Everybody, Behind the Better with Roger Smith. He's in the house.
I'm in the house. Here
Raj.
we go.
Raj is a native Coloradian. Is that how you say it?
Coloradan.
Coloradan.
Yeah.
But been in Texas most of his life.
Now I have been. Yeah. Yep.
Officially. By a few years? When did you move to Texas?
I moved here in 1987. So I was 26.
Oh, wow.
So I've been here
you've been
34 years.
34 years. Yeah, you just turned 60.
Just turned 60.
Should we say that on the podcast? We'll edit that
Sure.
part. We'll just bleep
Got
it
no
out.
problem.
Beep.
I was born 3 years after he got here in Colorado. 1990.
Coloradan.
Yeah, Colorado.
Native
He
Colorado.
left, I came in.
Yeah, that's right.
Then I followed him here.
Followed him here.
It's funny how people say Colorado too, because when you're from Colorado, you don't say Colorado. Some people say Colorado.
Yeah.
It just sounds funny.
What do you say?
Colorado.
Colorado.
And I probably say it wrong now because I've been gone so long.
So long, yeah.
Yeah.
This really funny is Nikki says Colorado.
Oh, really?
No L, just 2 D's. Colorado. I'm like, what are you doing? I give her a hard time about it all the time.
I just remember when I was growing up, my dad was always talking about Texans and finding them up in the mountains. Hunting.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, oh, you'll know them when you see them.
Oh, yeah.
They're breathing hard.
Oh.
He's like, they would get frustrated with them.
Oh, we made fun of them all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, there was actually tomato wars between Texans and Coloradans there, in the day back then. I don't know if they still do it or not.
That's funny.
Yeah, because we just didn't like them coming up there and
Hunting
see them on the
and
ski
stuff.
slopes and everything
Oh,
everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
like
hunt or no?
No, I really wasn't a hunter.
You just like to ski?
Yeah. And I didn't ski much when I was a kid.
Really?
Just couldn't afford to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's expensive.
it is.
The
I love to ski
and
now,
all that
though.
stuff.
Yeah.
When was the last time you went?
Last year.
Really?
Yeah, I try to go at least once a year, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get to go this year.
Why is
love
that?
My wife doesn't ski,
Yeah.
and I usually ski with my daughter and son-in-law.
Yeah.
They're not going this year.
Oh.
Last year we went with Brad and Crystal.
Brad and Crystal, they're not
And
going?
I'm not sure if they're
Sure,
going or
they're
not.
gonna
so
go. They
I
go to
don't know.
Colorado like what? 4 times a year at least.
It's just not very fun to ski by yourself.
Yeah,
That's true.
for sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
What do you like to ski? Like, are you up there or have you like gone down?
He's on the bunny
and stuff,
slopes.
or you, like,
No,
relax?
I'm good with greens.
Yeah.
I'll do some blues.
That means
I'll do a
nothing
few
to
blues.
me.
Yeah, I'll do some blues, but I'm pretty good with greens. I'm pretty happy there.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to prove anything. I just enjoy going down the slopes.
What is
Yeah.
levels? Because I'm not a skier.
Green is like the
like
basic.
basic.
It's like
Okay.
the easiest, and then blue gets a little bit harder, and then I think there's some reds too, but I don't know if there's
I
any
don't
reds.
know.
There's like
anymore. Then
black.
there's blacks.
You go black,
moguls.
then double diamond, or double diamond black.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
I stay away from those.
they-
So I don't even know what they are.
They
I look
get
for the
really
greens.
uncomfortable. I've gone on blacks and then tried looking at double diamonds or double
Yeah.
blacks or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But blacks really aren't that enjoyable because there's so many moguls.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah, I'm
hard
not-
to cut them.
I
is a
haven't
mo-
skied that much, so I'm not that good.
What's a mogul?
Like where it piles up in like balls of snow, so you're like in dips and trying to hit
everywhere.
But when you get up there, it's like, I mean, it's steep.
Yeah.
You're just having to like cut your way down the hill.
yeah.
Yeah,
Blues
see, we haven't
are
skied in a
fun.
long time, so when I was a kid, so we went about 3 years ago, and so pretty funny. Jenna and I I'm better than she is, but she's getting better. But Trey's like, he likes to get on there and just go and just
send
go.
it.
So he went down this blue, and we hadn't really been there very long. And so me and Jenna both got to this blue, and it looked like it was a straight drop off. And we both just stopped. And we had to convince it took ourselves about 10 or 15 minutes to convince ourselves to go down that. And we just went real slow, this way, this way.
That's
That would
what
be-
I
that would
got.
be me.
I
Yeah.
love to ski, so I love to do it. But we got on the wrong lift, and it took us way high.
Oh, yeah.
And so all she
yeah.
had was blues to come down, and she wasn't ready for blues, so she literally like scooted the whole down. It took forever.
I've
Took
been on ski
forever.
slopes several times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not with skis.
Just not with skis.
It's not with
Snowboard or
skis.
what?
No, hunting.
Hunting.
You'll be up in the mountains. The next thing you know, you're like, look at your map and you're like, what in the world is this big cleared out? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm on a ski slope right now.
Yeah.
Like, no lie.
Really?
Yeah, but several times. I was like, this is crazy looking. What is going on here? And yeah, you're on a ski slope. It's pretty wild looking.
Yeah.
You
In
need
the
to go
middle of
skiing.
it seems like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like literally I've been crossing, you're going through these mountain ranges. The next thing you know, like
Big wide open.
Wide
space.
open.
wide open space.
Yeah.
What is going on? Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you look on X maps and you see it's a ski slope. I'm like, all right, cool.
I didn't know you could hunt those areas.
Oh, yeah, a lot-
And like an old ski
Oh,
slope or
I don't know.
active.
I have no idea. All I
Well,
know,
you would have seen the thing. You would have seen the lifts. No lifts.
no lifts there. No, I've been. This was last year. This last year is near Aspen, not too far outside of Aspen. So there's ski slopes all over.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many ski slopes, but I guarantee there's probably half a dozen easily within like a 15-minute drive of downtown Aspen. I
Probably,
bet.
yeah.
So it was there was ski slopes everywhere, but they probably I bet what do they call them?
The lifts.
The lifts,
Yeah.
they probably could go up, and we just weren't on that side of the slope. And when it drops
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
By foot, it's a long walk.
It's a long walk. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're like, man. Anyways,
Yeah.
pretty good stuff. So, Raj, we didn't turn you into talk about skiing, which is good.
It's a good subject.
It is a
It's
great
fun.
subject.
Yeah.
I would like to do it.
You gotta try it.
Nikki's not like a daredevil person,
Yeah.
or like she doesn't like adrenaline rush stuff.
Well, Patsy's not either. She went down one time when she was a kid, and she went to the ski lodge and drank hot chocolate. So that's all she does.
Those greens are fun though.
They are.
Like to start off,
They
that's a lot of fun. You'll
Yeah.
get bored eventually if you are kind of searching for a faster ride. But
Well, that's kind of why we struggle at like theme parks. So when we went to Disney, we loved it as a family. Nikki doesn't like the rides though, so it makes it harder on her.
yeah,
So me convincing once we got them hooked, it was like party.
it's crazy. Our girls picked it up that quick.
Yeah.
They were-
Skiing?
Yeah.
they were
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kids do.
Kids do it easy.
Really.
Huh.
Yeah, it's
Do
crazy.
you think it's because they lack fear too, to a degree?
Maybe I don't know.
Some of it?
They just picked up quick and then
Yeah.
they went with it. It's like riding a bike.
just
Then
seems-
you go back and you can do it again. But
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
take
A lot
much
easier,
to learn again.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, really? So it's like once you obtain the skill,
Yeah.
it's just you quickly jump back on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's cool. One of these days I want to go. Maybe this year.
Should
maybe
go.
this year.
I'd like to do it. I'll be in Colorado this year for sure. I just won't be
Okay.
skiing.
Yeah.
I might be standing on the ski slope. It just won't be any snow. Well, there could be snow. You never know in September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been in September or elk hunting. There's been snow on the ground. So that was crazy 2 years ago. Anyways, moving on.
Okay. So why are we here?
We're going to talk about, Raj, you've been in business for, goodness, 20 plus years?
Yeah. A little over 20.
A little over 20 years.
Yeah.
Building homes, coffee shop owner.
Yeah.
Well, I say it's more than a coffee shop, really.
Yeah. We call it a coffee house eatery.
Coffee house eatery. That's super fancy. He's trying
Yeah.
to he's churching it up. Mm-hmm. If you haven't been to Brew and Bacon Lake Jackson, go have a slice of chocolate cake. But wait, there's more. Put it in the microwave for at least 10 to 12 seconds. Get it a little melt on the icing.
Yep. So
It is.
good.
It might be the sole reason I'm still kind of a fat kid. It is very good. And then if you haven't done this one, you got to do Mama Patsy's carrot cake.
Oh yeah.
She's been making that carrot cake for a long time.
Oh yeah. A long time.
So that's what I joked. I was joking around the other day. I was like, when Brad was talking about the Christmas party, and I said, "Hey, bring a carrot cake." I was like, "This isn't fair. When I was a kid, I got it for free. I got to pay for it."
That's what he said.
No, that's what I said.
you said.
Let's say right.
You just have to call her up and say, "Hey, can you?"
She would
make one. She would do it.
do it.
She hadn't made it in a long time herself because
Yeah.
it's made at the store.
At
so
the store. Yeah.
she would love to just do it again and say, "Hey, here you go, Dale."
Yeah. Nikki's been trying to get her to make her that butter cake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. After we were over.
Yeah, you can hurt yourself on that butter cake.
Dude, man, it is so good.
So good.
So good.
How long has Brew and Bake been open?
We've been open 10 and a half years.
That's crazy. 'Cause
One story.
So
one
wild.
store. Would you ever branch out or no?
we have a lot of plans to have had a lot of plans to do that, and just a lot of circumstances go into starting another location.
Absolutely.
So we own property, plan on doing it, but we're just on hold right now. We're not sure what we're going to do with it.
Yeah.
So
this is a lot going into opening another store location.
Yeah, there's a lot to go into it. I tell people all the time, if I'd have known what the payroll was going to be before I opened it, I never would have opened it. It would have scared me off. Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, imagine, because you're thinking like just to make the payroll, because you have, what does your staff look like? Is it 20 plus people?
No, it's about, we fluctuate from 12 to 14 people,
12 and 14.
but we have probably 5 of those that are essentially full time.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's a lot. There's a lot to it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 5 people at full salaries
that's a lot.
It's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and really what I wanted to do is a drive-through concept only, just a drive-through only, and I think that's really where it's at. And you can be more profitable, but also you can keep the same kind of. Our big deal is people.
Yeah.
We really, our slogan is called "A Place for Everybody All the Time."
Yeah.
And that's because we welcome no matter who you are, what you look like, what your age, anything doesn't matter. Yeah. And so if we do a drive-through only at some point, we don't want to lose that personal contact.
Oh, right.
Because that's kind of what we're known for. We get good reviews all the time, but they talk about our food, they talk about our drinks, but they're almost always about our people.
That's awesome.
And the service.
Well, I think one of the most commendable things that I notice about Brew and Bake is your turnover rate is like very, very, very slim. Like they don't have
your employees.
Yeah, you would think like in a brewery type situation or anytime, or not brewery. I guess technically is a brewery.
Any kind of restaurant.
Yeah, any kind of restaurant, or anytime you're in retail of some sort, or your service like that. Turnover rate is typically really high because you'll have teenagers or college age students who are in and out kind of stuff. Yep. And their turnover rate is crazy low. I mean, y'all have employees that have been with y'all for years and years and years and years and years. And
our lady who used to do our accounting, she does other restaurants too, and she's just blown away about our turnover rate.
Yeah,
because it's so just low. It's just not a high rate at all. We have people that have been with us for a long time.
So that's a really good question to actually get into something. I think. What is it that sets the culture that keeps people wanting to work for you? What do you think that is for you guys at Brew and Bake?
Wow,
it's a hard question.
Yeah, I don't know how you can capture that. Yeah. It's just what we require of our atmosphere. We require. Well, we like to say we provide legendary service. We really want to be above and beyond. We've been compared to Chick-fil-A before. Yeah. So if you're compared to Chick-fil-A on your service, that's important.
That's important.
Yeah. We also just support our staff. I don't know how you capture that. Yeah. And how do you do that? We have a way of doing business that just I don't know. I'm not sure how you say it.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know how you capture what you do or how we get to that point. We have a standard of how we operate. Uh-huh. We want to welcome everybody all the time. Our atmosphere in the store is important as the quality of our products.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's another slogan we have on our wall that we've had for a long time is it's all about love. Remember Pastor Ron? Yeah. Yep. And so we stole that from him. It's all about love. And so I think people feel that. They feel the difference. We've been referred to, people have said, I come in here and I feel safe.
Yeah.
Like I can come in here and I can get away from everything. People would say when we first opened, I step into the doors and I don't feel like I'm in Lake Jackson. I'm in a different place.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those intangibles. You can't just say
it's this one thing.
It's this one thing. It's the whole concept of how we do business and how we direct everything. I think it's.
I'm trying to think of the young man's name. He's probably not a young man. He might be 45. I don't know. No, he's definitely younger than me, so he's a young man. Yeah. But he wears glasses, usually has a ball cap on backward.
That's Victor.
Victor? Mm-hmm. Okay. I was in there the other night, and the dude was working so fast that literally I almost texted you, and I was like, you need to give this man a raise.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Like his
he'll kind of hop from one station to the next station.
He literally was like so energized he was making Nikki a cold brew something. I don't even remember what it was. Yeah. Probably wasn't even that complicated to make. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about it, right? But just the urgency that he had to take care of me, I was like, man, it's impressive that I'm like, if he keeps this up all day, I'm like, this dude is working hard.
Yeah.
Like, is he physically moving something and sweating all day, or like what you consider hard labor? like working on a construction site. Absolutely not. But his effort was that of someone who was with urgency trying to take care of every customer. It was impressive and commendable. Seriously, it was awesome. Dude's a good dude.
To talk about turnover, he's been with us about 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy, man. It just blows my mind. But so from the outside looking in, Raj, do you think that possibly one of the reasons why your turnover rate is so low is because of the excellence that you demand from people? They want to be a part of it. Like you put out a product at Brew and Bake that I feel like is superior to most standard like walk-in coffee shops.
Right.
Not just when it comes to the food, but the service and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that whenever you have something like that, it's easier for people to want to be involved. Right.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine working for you. And sometimes it's not easy because you demand excellence.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's something that needs to be corrected, you are easily, hey man, we need to fix this. Right.
Yeah. And it's a balance of demanding. I say demanding, but expecting certain things that be done a certain way with a certain type of quality.
Yeah.
And with customer service and all those things. So you do expect that, but you also have to give them some flexibility to interject their personality in the way they go about life.
Sure.
So it's a balance of how you do that. And I think when you respect them, and I think it goes back to the whole concept of what we're about and how we do business. People, and plus a coffee house is cool. When you have people want to work at a coffee house.
Yeah.
Even though we're kind of different because we're so busy. We're very busy, and sometimes I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
How they when we have lines to the door for hours straight, I don't know how they do it.
That's what I'm telling you. Like,
it's crazy.
That's what I was saying about Victor. Like whenever I saw his hustle and bustle to take care of our drink, I was like,
was there a line then or no?
No, it was just me.
And right. He likes the evenings because it's not as busy. So when he does have to work the mornings, he doesn't like it as good.
He doesn't like it as much. But it was commendable. Seriously, his effort was. It was cool. Yeah. I don't know. It just makes me think. It makes me wonder. If people see like we have this standard of excellence, like do you think it elevates their want and desire to be involved in something? I think it does.
I think it does too. And there's ones that after a little bit of a time they realize I don't fit here.
Yeah.
And it's usually because of those types of things.
Yeah.
That they realize this is not the place for me to be.
I think it goes that way with just about any industry, especially whenever you're not demanded, but to a degree you're expected.
Yeah. There's
some expectations, and if they're not clearly defined, right? If the expectations aren't clearly defined, then you get into the trap of, then you're dealing with it down the road. Mm-hmm. A lot of times whenever you can set like a standard up front with people and your employees, and they understand what you want, and they're going to weed themselves out. It's kind of what you're saying.
It happens. Yeah.
Right. So kind of what you're saying is like, eventually they realize, man, this is not for me because maybe they don't feel like they're performing at the rate that you want. Maybe they don't want to perform at the rate that you want and push out, the drinks fast or whatever it is, or take the time to memorize how to make them and all these types of things. Right. Yeah. So I think
it sounds like it's people that believe in your mottos and then they take pride in like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like they get a pridefulness of it, saying like they're proud to work at that place because of the reviews it gets.
But it's also how you hire them. We have certain things that we look at. There's certain things you can teach. There's certain things you can't teach.
Yeah, I'd like to hear this hiring process.
Interview Dell.
They.
I wouldn't get the job.
We've had some that we've hired that have been like real shy, but you knew they had some some skills there that you couldn't teach. They looked at you. They treated you. They were respectful. But you can teach them to make the drinks. It's hard.
Yeah.
And you can teach them, most of them, you can teach them to be fast at making the drinks, and you can teach, people in the back to do the same thing in the kitchen, to do the job. But there's some intangibles there that either they have or they may not have it. Some people just don't have that connecting with people, and so when people come to, we can shorten the time people wait, maybe they're still waiting a long time to get their product, but if you're communicating with people in the line 3, 4, and 5 back, that just kind of in their mind, it kind of shortens that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's things you can teach, but if they don't have certain things, certain qualities, then we'll just pass on them and go find somebody else.
Yeah.
So, it's not just, this kid's available, let's hire him.
Yeah.
Because we've had some of those, and there's some skills that you can't teach. If they don't have a certain And it's another intangible. It's not something you just lay, okay, you got to have this, and this.
Yeah.
When you interview them, you can kind of feel and you can kind of judge by how their body language is and how they're talking to you and how they interview. Okay, this is a good fit. We can teach them the other things.
Yeah. Are there a few things that you look for? Like dead giveaways, like, no, this is not going to work or anything like that?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I think you would pretty much know if somebody comes in there and they're really dressed sloppy and they just, they're just not taken care of. I think that's a dead giveaway, something like that.
So at a coffee house, what do people wear to an interview? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, that's a little different demographic for baristas, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't done interviews in a while.
Yeah.
Our manager takes care of all those now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they wear, but kind of a funny story. When we first opened, we were understaffed, and so we put a sign on the door. I think in Facebook maybe we did too. But anyway, this girl comes in, and let me backtrack a little bit. How we kind of got started. Okay, so we were kind of kicking around the idea, and Patsy had made carrot cakes and chocolate cakes and
Delicious.
all these things, and she was doing this mainly in the holidays, during their holidays. So leading up to Christmas, she would take orders from people, and so she would make these cakes, and they would come pick them up. And the last time was the person picked up the last cake on Christmas Eve, like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. I said, okay.
Something's got to change.
Something's got to change. So we drive downtown trying to find a place, and I told her, I said, do you realize how many cakes you're going to have to make just to pay the rent? So we kind of scrapped the idea. We almost signed with the franchise to open three stores.
Oh, wow.
In Austin. Moved to Austin and opened 3 stores there. It's going to be like 18 months apart.
Like, is it like a bakery?
No, it's going to be actually a Firehouse sub shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. So we almost, and we was like, she was scheduled to go to Jacksonville, Florida for training, and about a week before, she just couldn't do it because at that point, their menu is fixed. You couldn't add any of her things that she's worked on all her life to do. So we decided not to do that kind of the last minute. And then that was like in October. So then we took the next 4 or 5 months, kind of put together the plan and figure, okay, what are we going to do? Because we want to do something. Mm-hmm. And that's when coffee kind of came into the bakery part. So that's where the coffee came from. Because we go out of town, we went to Austin a lot back then. We'd go to certain areas of Houston, and we would go to coffee shops. That's what we gravitated towards.
Yeah, cool.
And so we kind of wanted to recreate that and put some of her desserts in there. So that's kind of how the whole thing came together. So one day I was just with Patsy, and I never really do this, but it was like a Tuesday morning, and we went to Kohl's together, and there was this girl. We bought a couple of little wall hangings. One said latte, and one said something else, coffee related. And we go up to the front, and there's this girl up there, and she's just really a unique kind of girl, the way she was kind of holding herself and everything. And she said, "Oh, hey, you gonna open a coffee shop?" And we said, "We just might do that." Wow. So she points out the window over by where Cherry Berry is now, and she said, "I think that'd be a good place." And I said, "Well, we're actually looking at a place down by Food King in that area because it was a dead shopping center at the time."
Oh, for sure.
I said, "Oh, I think that'd be a good place." And so it's like literally we walked out of that store, and that was like our confirmation we was going to open.
Wow,
and
that's cool.
At that time, we was just in the beginning process of kind of negotiating a lease to see if we even wanted to do this and if that was a spot. So we kind of went out there, and we ended up leaving that place and like, okay, we're doing this. Yes. And kind of a similar story to Cornerstone Builders. We can talk about that if we get a chance later.
Yeah, we will.
But then, so once we opened, we needed more help. We realized we needed more help. So this same girl walks in.
That's cool.
Yeah, she walks in. We're interviewing her, and she's really new. And I'm really conservative. So I was born conservative, raised conservative in the church, and so I'm really conservative. But anyway, she had this hair that was had purple and pink dyes in it. And it's really kind of unique and creative. And so we interviewed her, and we really liked her personality and everything. And at the end, I said, "Okay, we just have to talk about one thing. We got to talk about your hair." And she kind of knew it was coming, and Patsy kind of knew it was coming. I said, "You can't change a thing. It's perfect."
Oh, that's cool.
So we hired her. She's the one that was checked us out at Kohl's.
Did you ever tell her that story?
Yeah, we've told her.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So,
and then you fired her 2 weeks later. But anyways.
No, actually, she worked for us for quite a long time. And it was funny because she was young. And a couple of older ladies that come in all the time, they really connected.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
kind of the relationships are kind of unique.
Yeah.
And kind of cool the way they gravitated toward her, because she would dress in layers.
Oh.
You ever seen somebody dress in layers? You know, they'd have, you know, a shirt on, then another shirt on,
a jacket
and sweats and, you know, shorts over there or something like that.
Yeah.
And so she was dressing unique. So it was kind of neat, the people that connected with her.
That's cool.
But everybody loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she left for a time and she came back actually. And that's happened a lot too with like our college students.
Yeah.
They would go off to college, and when they come back for spring break or really more Christmas break and summer break, they say, hey, can I pick up some shifts? Can I come back and work? And we've had several of them that have come back and worked for us when they're back in town.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool that you've created a culture where people want to come back to. It's rare. It really is.
It is.
So it's pretty awesome, man.
You said everybody's welcome, but do you have like a main demographic that funnels in there, or is
Dude,
it pretty much
it's all over the place.
We really don't.
Well, I know you get old guys in there, but do you have young people coming there?
No, we really don't. We have kind of a cool story of an elderly couple, where it's a man and a woman, and they were pretty old, and she was in the beginning stages of dementia. And so he would always come in, and he would go and take her and sit her down, and then he'd come up and get the drinks and go sit down with her. Then over a little bit of time, he was still coming in, but he would keep her in his car, and he would take the drink out to her. And then after a little while, she wasn't coming at all, but he would get the drink and take it back to her.
Yeah.
And then we found out later that she had passed. It was just a short time after that he had passed as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I mean, so we get some elderly. We've had proposals in there. We've had some photos in there. Some wedding. I'm not sure. Some kind of
photography, of
different kinds of things. It's all kinds of
maybe
stuff.
like seniors and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was cool. We wanted to be a place for everybody, so it was kind of cool when we first opened up. Probably within 6 months, there was several tables were put together, and from that table, there's like 10 people around that table, and there was, if I remember right, there was like 8 different countries represented at that table.
Wow.
They were in for, I think, Dow or something like that.
Yeah,
but there was people from all over the world that were at that table. So
Yeah.
it was
That's
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, I really like that.
So
What about Cornerstone?
Yeah, we could talk about culture. I want to, because I think this bleeds over too. I think it's more of a personality trait that I feel like, I don't feel I know Roger has. I don't know that it's unique, but it's something you maybe weren't born with. Maybe it's something you've developed over the time, but and I've used this word a lot today already.
Yeah.
You naturally, to me, from outside looking in, you naturally exude excellence in everything you do. Anytime Roger Smith touches something, I say it's going to be done right and it's going to be done well. And it's for me, like, also like, man, I want that. But how much work does it take? Number one, you know what I mean? Like to pursue those things of excellence. And do you feel like it was something, Roger, you just always had, even as a kid? Like, man, like whenever you did something, you tackled something, you were going to always, you may not even see it this way. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Well, from my view, I'll put it to you this way. Okay. And maybe this might've been Mama Pat. I don't know, but they were getting ready to open. I don't know how far y'all were out. The floors were done, painted, right?
Yeah.
I walk in and it's late at night. Me and Nikki were driving through Lake Jackson, and it was, I don't know, 9 something, maybe later, 10 o'clock at night. And we notice the lights are on. I see Mama Pat up there on her hands and knees, scraping the floors, the paint off the floors.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't teach that. I don't know that you teach that. I think maybe it's learned over time, but something was not right with the color. I don't know what it was, but she said, this will not do. And they were up there literally scraping the floors at like 10 o'clock at night. I don't know what we were doing, but we were just out driving around, I think, and we just happened to catch them. But Raj, I mean, like, I don't know if you even realize it, but from my point of view, you do things with excellence. Do you feel like it's something you've developed over years?
Definitely developed. Yeah. Absolutely. I think probably everybody who does things that way probably develops it. I'm a big believer in you are what you eat. Okay, so we can relate that to food, but I'm also all these little tidbits through life that you experience, different people put into you, that shapes who you become. And so, there's, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I didn't really have anybody directing me. I was pretty much on my own. Yeah, I had a home life and all that. I had kids and my brothers and sisters and all that. but I didn't have any really parent directing me. I kind of did what I wanted to do the way I wanted to. And so I kind of became the dad when I was about 12 years old, essentially. My dad was still there, but I was kind of the dad.
Yeah.
You know,
Were you the oldest? Are you the oldest?
No, my sister. I have a sister that's older than me.
Okay. Gotcha.
But then I have 2 brothers that are younger, then 2 adopted sisters that are younger than them.
Yeah, I knew that.
And so I kind of became the dad in a sense when I was 12. So I kind of, in those ways, I kind of grew up early, but I was kind of that kind of person anyway. I'm very to myself. So anyway, I learned things. I always say, and I don't want to talk negative about anybody, but I learned the things from my dad of what not to do or what not to be. I used the things that were not okay in him, and I used them to propel me to be somebody different.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have definitely put into me to do those things. You know, there's pastors through the years. There's a good friend of mine that a pastor in Grand Junction right now.
That's cool.
So a lot of people have, and I think you develop those things. But it's also something inside of you that drives you to become better.
Yeah.
You know, I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of business books, a lot of investing books. I've read a lot of books from different Christian authors and things like that. So I think educating, but ultimately it's each person's choice what they want to do. I always told my kids, if you're going to take the time to do something, do it right.
Yeah.
Do it your best.
Yeah.
And that's something we instilled in our kids to do that. And so we've kind of taken that, and it's the same thing. You know, the Bible tells us to, you know, if you're going to do something, do things with the spirit of excellence.
Yeah.
And so that's part of who I am too. That's just who I am. I don't know.
I mean, like, no lie. Like, there's some days when I walk into the gym and I don't like something. I literally tell myself, like, Roger wouldn't approve of this. He's probably disappointed in me right now.
Roger's cracking me up one day. Caden was doing lunges with the dumbbells, and he was like doing a lunge, and then he'd like walk 2 steps, 3 steps, and do a lunge.
Yeah.
And he was calling it out.
KP?
Yeah. And I just thought it was fun.
Oh, that day I was calling him out?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I called out Dax yesterday, I think, too. He was doing
too funny.
He was doing something yesterday, and he was, I think, on the warm-up.
Yeah.
And he was doing something. Oh, we was scraping our knuckles.
Oh, yeah,
He would take 3 steps in between.
Come on, Dax.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's too funny, though.
He was cracking me up that day.
Spirit of excellence, man. It's really important, but I do agree. I think to some degree, it is something some people are more inherently born with, but it's definitely something that has to be built. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
I think that is the pursuit of excellence is exactly what we talked about yesterday. It's taking the little things and stacking them and stacking them and stacking them. And then whenever it gets to big things, brew and bake, your time to shine. Raj has already established years and years of training and maybe not even realizing it to a degree. And then I use the word demand, but that's not maybe the right word. But because of your pursuit of excellence, people fall in line to that. You set a standard, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
How many businesses have you owned altogether?
I guess you could say 4.
Really?
I guess, yeah.
What'd you have before?
I did some small electrical contractor before I started building houses. Because I was a trained electrician. I thought that was the way to go.
That's what you did for BSF or no?
I was trained in that when I was in Colorado, so I was a journeyman electrician there.
Yeah.
And then when I came here, I did go to work for a few different chemical companies, and I did that for a while. And then I switched over to instrumentation and electrical when I went to work for BASF.
And you were there for quite a while.
I was there about 13 years.
13 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it? Are you always looking for the next avenue of income, or are you pretty much settled in your ways now? Are you looking?
I don't think he's ever settled.
Yes,
in his ways.
yes, and no. Yeah. My mind is always looking for something else.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for, but it's not now, and this is not bragging, it's not necessarily another income trail. I know that I have limited amount of time left in my life.
Yep.
And there's things I want to do, I want to accomplish.
Yep.
But I also know the cost of that. It's not the financial cost only, it's
time.
the time, it's the investment of energy and effort.
Yeah.
So then I have to balance it. Okay, if I do that, I'm going to make some money at it more than likely, but I don't need the money necessarily.
Yeah.
And the time commitment is so great, maybe I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah. Well, that could be one of the reasons. I mean, just why you haven't started another brew and bake.
Yeah.
I mean, very really.
Because I know what's involved now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot of effort.
Oh, it's a lot of effort.
A lot of effort. Yeah. And especially to be able to replicate what you already have.
And I've seen, we've all seen businesses that have one location and they do really, really well. And then they open another one. It's like, it's just not the same anymore.
The same. Yeah.
So how do you keep that? How do you make that sure, make sure for sure that that one's as good as the other one?
Well, and I think it has a lot to do with personnel, right? Yeah. People that work there. You can go to any restaurant, even if it's a McDonald's, and love your experience, and go to the next one over, which is probably 2 miles away, and hate it. Yeah. Because of the people that work there. Yeah. So how do you replicate that? You can't have the same people. You know, so it's tricky, I think. But is it doable? It is doable.
It is.
At what cost, though?
Exactly.
You're right. You're right about that.
There is a cost.
What's a business mistake that you've made that you've learned from?
Ooh, I like that. That's a good question, Jake. He's like probably got a list of them. He's like, got to be careful what I say here.
Let's see. A business mistake.
Yeah. I mean, are you like a measured like 10 times cut once, or are you, do you really think out, or has there ever been a time you just went on a whim and like, man, that was a big mistake?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, many of them. I overthink and overanalyze sometimes.
He's definitely, I was going to say, if anything, I can't imagine Roger not thinking about cutting it or measuring it 10 times before he cuts it. He's an analyzer for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've said to my people that I'm associated with in business that I'll be glad when 2021 is over, because there's some decisions I made in 2021 after being in business this long, some decisions I made this year that were not the best decisions. I would go back and do some things differently. And for instance, it's kind of funny that today is a pretty big day for our company, because one of the decisions that I made that wasn't very good, we're kind of moving on from. So anyway, let me clarify.
Okay. Yeah.
A few years ago, I bought a half-acre lot in West Columbia to build a coffee drive-through.
Yep.
That's what the purpose of it was. It's kind of landlocked because it's on a busy highway, so there was no access on a side street. So you'd have to come in off the highway and back.
Which is hard.
When you have the volume you hope to have.
Yeah.
So next door to it was an old bank building. So I'd found out that bank building, of course, it's vacant, but behind it was a 35-foot strip that extended behind my half-acre too, which gave us access to the side street, which I could pull people in and out through there.
Yeah.
So anyway, we decided to look at that building. I ended up buying that building, but I way overpaid. And the reason I bought it is because, hey, I've got access to the street.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is I should have done more research on the building itself, because behind the walls was mold and just basically the building's a cavity that needs to be tore down. So it is. So today we're actually tearing it down, and we're going to build our new office building in its place. So it's coming down today.
So looking back, would you have just bought a different location, or would you?
I would have not bought that. I would have not bought that
at that price. You would have negotiated because of the. You would have known.
Or it would have just sat there, and I'd have built my office on the lot that I already had.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, there's.
Yeah, but that's an unknowable almost.
Yeah,
it's hard.
You're going to make mistakes like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's in retrospect, you're going to do things that I wish I'd have done this one different, but it's always going to be like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So what do? Sit still and don't make a mistake?
No,
you got to move forward and do something.
Yeah, if I think the only people that aren't making mistakes are the people not doing anything at all.
That's right.
Yeah, so you're going to make mistakes in business and in life. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Said you read a lot of books. What's your top 3 books that you like?
Ooh.
Oh, one of my favorites of all time is from Jim Cimbala. Yeah, Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire. Yeah. It's one of those that I think that
Who just posted that one?
Somebody did.
Tristan Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said I read it probably 20 plus years ago, and I said I think every Christian needs to reread it every year.
Wow.
I think it's just can reset you. So I think that's a good one. I like when I can't remember the title, but it's something to the effect that you never walk on water if you don't get out of the boat. So that's
don't make mistakes unless you're.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, I don't know. And I've read a lot of books on Warren Buffett, investment books on Warren Buffett.
Yeah, cool.
One of my favorite books is the one about the founder of Chick-fil-A. That's a very good business
What's the guy's
book.
name? It's like a CA something or
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that's a really good.
It's like initial last name, I think.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
So that's a good
book.
I really like that one. Yeah,
yeah, good stuff. I just told y'all about their book I'm reading right now. It's called The Infinite Game.
Yeah.
Read it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's really good. I'm only like 5 chapters in. I'm like, this is one of those books that everybody needs to read.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that you think about in life and you're like, I've been thinking about things and certain things, especially business and stuff like that. You've been thinking about them wrong.
Yeah.
Super good. Yeah. Anyways, dude, let's move on. Let's talk about Cornerstone a little bit.
All right.
Let's talk about the beginnings, because this is really the beginning of your true entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Brew and Bake never would have happened without Cornerstone Builders.
Right.
No
Yeah,
way.
right on.
Wouldn't have had the confidence, wouldn't have had the finances, wouldn't have had the business knowledge without it. For sure. Wouldn't have happened.
So let's talk about that. You were working the plant.
Yeah.
Still working the plant as you were building homes. So your first few, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go down that track.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I was working at BASF, and I just, like so many people, I wanted something different.
Yeah.
I just wanted.
I think it's everybody in the plant, right? At
well,
some
sure.
point.
I mean, I had a good job.
Yeah.
I'd kind of gone as high as I could go because I don't have a college education.
Yeah.
I have some college, but I don't have a degree or anything like that. So really, I had gone as high as I could go in the location I was at. So I really had no other challenges. It was a good job, enjoyed it, but I wanted something different. So at the time, I was leading worship at Brazoria.
Yep.
I was there, and so I came down. So this is what I was referring to, like Brew and Bake. There was a moment in time when I was like, okay, it's established. It's like right that moment. So that's what happened with Kohl's when Kelly was checking us out.
Yeah.
We walked out of the store. Brew and Bake started that moment.
Yeah.
In earnest, for real.
Yeah.
It was very similar. So I was leading worship, and I came down, and Ronnie Stewart was talking to a group of people in the foyer. And I walked up to him. I just put my arm around him. I said, thinking about building some houses. That's literally what I said. He said, I think you ought to do it. I said, well, I've kind of stayed away from it because we have a lot of builders in the church. He said, if you do it right, there's enough for all of us.
That's right.
I literally left that conversation, and I was a home builder.
Yeah.
I began telling people
in your
that
mind,
day.
you had made the decision.
I tell people that day.
Yeah.
I told my wife when I got home, I'm going to build houses. When I went to work the next day, I started telling people I'm a home builder. I'm going to build houses.
Yeah.
And I started my journey right then, that moment.
Yeah. It is so wild how that happens. Like I had similar for buying this building. Mm-hmm. I was looking at this building, and man, I was like, dude, that's a lot of money for an old rundown building. Yeah. And all these things go through your head. And I had a conversation with you that spurred me, like,
yeah.
And then I also had that conversation with Ben Bergeron when I was in Boston at his gym. But very similar moments. It was like affirmation, literally within like a week of each other. So, but that's exactly how it went down. Is you mentioned something, you just kind of bring it up, and it's kind of like you can't do this or that unless you take the risk. Mm-hmm. Is more or less how the conversation went. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm buying a building. And like, if you ever want to grow, you have to do it. Yeah. And it's like this decision was made really because of like it was really, really just a few words. And in my mind, I had already, you start, that's it. Mm-hmm. It's got to happen. And it's so funny because when you're sitting by yourself, it's turmoil and you're turning over in your gut and your head. Can I financially do this? How many members is it going to take to pay the rent or, pay the mortgage on this place? Yeah. How do we keep the lights on? All these things are turning over. And then a conversation, and it's like more or less like, what are you waiting on? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's literally that simple. And you're like, I guess I'm doing this. It's happening. Yeah. And then from that moment on, decided to buy the building. Yeah. It's crazy. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the second business is like easier because you like kind of know it, but then like you're saying, like he has the go get him in his blood now. Like I can be an entrepreneur again and again and again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree because of the confidence is built.
Yeah,
for sure through the first business. But man, a lot of trial and error there.
Oh yeah,
promise you that.
Yeah. That first one. Yeah.
How many houses did you? How long did you go still working? Splitting your time.
I went about 3.5 years.
I was gonna say it was a little time. Yeah.
And it's kind of strange too. Well, not strange, but it was hard because at the time I was the worship leader at Brazoria. Yeah, that was essentially a full-time job.
So we were at the
way we did it. It was like a full-time job. So
marathon.
I had basically 3 full-time jobs, and I would stay up a lot of nights during the week. I'd be up till 3 or 4 in the morning, often. Dude. Either marking up PLANs or doing payroll or something. It was all the time. Yeah, it was tough. It was some tough time then.
This guy's crazy.
Hey, it's like I said, there's a cost. If you want to be successful at something, there's a cost.
Yeah.
People look at other people and say, oh, they're successful. They really got this business, but they don't know what really went into it.
Well, it's funny, the phrase, it must be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, to do this or that. I'm like, where were you at 3:30 in the morning whenever I'm getting ready to come here and coach a class?
Yeah.
It all must be nice whenever you see the results, but it's not must be nice whenever you're talking about waking up to an alarm clock.
Absolutely.
And this is something I recently started. Well, I've done it actually for a while now. I get home a lot of times from the gym about 6 a.m. and I told you about this yesterday.
Yeah.
I started setting aside time to work on things first thing in the morning where there's no distractions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camry's up getting ready for school. They're eating breakfast and stuff like that. But the rest of the day is not caught up yet. Once I head to the gym drop the kids off to school and I head to the gym and workout's done and it's 9:30, the day is started. The phone's ringing, the text messages are coming in, the emails are there, and it's at any given time, you can be persuaded to do something else. You may have a set agenda of things I need to get done, but there could be something else that pushes you to do something else.
Right.
That doesn't happen at 6 a.m. No. And that's whenever Dale takes care of all the things that Dale's like, I really want to pursue this. So I think if anybody wants to get into doing a business, it's called an alarm clock, or it's called set aside time where you can't be distracted or the distractions are minimized, right? You have to. That's the only way you can pursue dreams is if you set aside time to work on them.
Yeah.
That's it. Better go get it.
You said something about maybe advice that he could give to younger entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. I think that'd be good, Raj. What would you say to us guys? Cause we're still young. Man, you're knocking on death's door any minute now.
Yeah. I tell my kids, my grandkids, I'm just getting started.
I agree. Yeah, I really do.
I look at it.
I tell you this all the time. At 60, I'm hoping I'm where Raj is. I'm hoping I'm laying the foundation, health wise, that I'm healthy at 60 and moving very well, because we're starting now. But yeah, what advice would you give younger people? Because I wouldn't say I'm a spring chicken, but still, I would say I'm still in my prime. If somebody tells me I'm in my prime, I'm like, get out of here with that nonsense. I'm only 36. Get out of here. But I think there's some knowledge we can still.
This isn't the prime. I need to do better.
Oh no, my prime is not very good. But some advice you would give younger entrepreneurs, people pursuing their dream. Get some advice for us, man.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. There's a phrase or something that I heard a few years ago about talking to it's kind of broken down into a report, I guess, of people who were in business but had passed away. And they talk to them, of course, when you're on your deathbed, people say, well, I wish I spent more time with my family.
Yeah.
But when they ask them specifically about business or things like that, they said, I wish I would have taken more risks. So I think what we talk ourselves out of dreams and possibilities and opportunities because the risk involved.
Yeah.
And so it's not blind risk, but it's calculated. If you go through the proper steps, you have a dream, and you put together a plan, and you see that it's something you really want to do, then buy the building.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think
back to the book title. If you don't get out of the boat, you're never going to walk on water.
Yeah.
So, if you have dreams and you want to do something different, something bigger with your life, figure out what that is, put together a plan, and go for it. Make it happen.
Yeah,
make it happen.
I agree. Yeah. I think that if you're going to do something and you're going to pursue it wholeheartedly, you're really going to put everything into it. Now there is a end cost, but to a degree, when it's talking about time or investment in the money, it's always more than what you originally think. So just know if you're looking to start a new business or something like that, somebody's wanting to do their own thing, just know that whatever they originally think it's going to be, double it.
Yeah.
Financially, time-wise, especially starting.
And really, if the goal is really just to get rich or to get more money, you're probably have a less chance of being successful.
Yeah.
You've got to have a desire, you've got to have a drive, a passion that's beyond just the financial reward of it.
The infinite game.
It's got to be more than just that.
Yeah.
For me, I love building houses. I love seeing the slab go in, and I love smelling the wood when the framers are starting. That's what I like. So it's more than just, being successful on a financial level. It's, it's just the satisfaction of, to me, I do two things that I think are kind of incredible. And sometimes I get emotional about it because I get to look at a piece of dirt, and when I'm done, there's a family there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool.
I've seen people get married in their houses. They've had babies in them.
Yeah.
Not literally have the baby in there, but
maybe.
maybe. But they're growing a family
yeah.
in what used to be a piece of dirt that I put together.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, I have a restaurant, so we get to feed people.
Yeah.
So that's just it's an awesome responsibility, but it's also a privilege that we get to do those types of things.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
I think it's like a attitude thing or a perspective.
Yeah.
If it's I get to do this, success will follow.
Yeah.
If it's I have to, you're doomed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's that way with any business, any job.
Yeah.
At some point, if you're at your job and I have to do this, that job is dead to you.
Well, also, if you enjoy it, they say that you never really work a day in your life. So if you really enjoy it, you look at it differently than just punching a clock.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's different.
Yeah. That's what I love about this place.
And I think what you're doing, if it's your passion, it's what your drive is, and if you do it your best. Like when we opened Brew and Bake, about a year and a half later, Starbucks came in and people were concerned about, and I wasn't concerned.
Yeah.
I just really wasn't concerned.
Yeah.
What it did is the week they opened, we had one of our lowest sales weeks, but the next week we broke a record. And what it did is it gave something to compare. So people say, "Oh, I went to Starbucks, didn't really like it." Well, Brew and Bake's a block away. Oh, I didn't know that. So we broke a sales record the very next week.
That's
I think it goes back to, if you do things right, there's room for you to be successful if you do it right. Like for me, I go, and I'm known for having a good, keen eye on our building products that we build. So years ago, we tell the story a lot. Patsy tells it a lot, because I had my tile guy, and we walked into this house. It's done, and I just look at the fireplace, and I just see the tile that's going around the black part of the fireplace, and man, it just looked a little bit off. I said, man, that side's a little bit lower than that side. And nobody else could tell.
Yeah.
But we went and measured, and it was like a 16th of an inch off. But it was enough that it had to be right.
16th of an inch. And I don't know how much. That's barely bigger than a fingernail.
Yeah. And so I'm in the building.
Make a difference.
In the building with our contractors, they know what I expect, because that's how I look at things.
Yeah.
And so if you do things right, if you do things quality, if you go above and beyond, and do things right, then you have a chance to be successful. Yeah.
They fix it.
They did fix it.
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee you they fixed it. I guarantee you they fixed it. Too funny.
Oh, yeah. I'm known for showing up with orange paint, because when it's time to, before we insulate and sheetrock, I go with an orange paint, and I mark everything that's not right. The framer knows to look. Okay, if there's an arrow on the concrete, fix that right there. If it's curved, look up. It's up there.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a method?
There's a method.
There's a method. Cool, man.
So how young were you when you had Cornerstone?
I started Cornerstone when I was 39.
All right. So you said you're kind of the father, like stepped into a father role or whatever. Who taught you your financial side of it? Like what to do with the money once you get it? Did you learn that on your own, or what?
Yeah, I pretty much always kind of had a knack for that. So back before business, when we were raising our family, I would get me a legal pad, and I would write out how much money I'm going to bring in for the week, all of my bills that are due for that week, and I'd have it listed by each week. So I could see the weeks that I was positive and the weeks that I was negative. But at the end of the week, that was my budgeting formula.
Net. Yeah.
That was my budgeting formula.
Yeah.
And I just carried that on into business.
Yeah.
It was just kind of the natural progression for that.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I've read a lot of books on business, on finances. I've read a lot of books. That kind of gives you a little bit here and a little bit here, and
glean a little bit from.
And one thing I learned from the rep that we talked about Firehouse Subs earlier, that we talked about maybe opening 3 of those in Austin, and we met a guy there, and he said, in the restaurant business, or like any business, if you do it right, you should be profitable on your very first day. And we were. And so that's how we've taken that and used that, as kind of our motivation too. If we do things right, you're going to be profitable. Do things right.
Did they give you any material or anything that they were wanting y'all to read and that kind of
stuff?
No,
because Patsy was scheduled to go to do the training, and she would have gotten all that information then. Yeah. So no. At that time, it was just personal contact with a few guys.
Yeah.
Right on, man. That was good, Raj.
Thank you, man.
I mean, I don't know if we're ready to wrap up, but I feel like we're at a good place, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any other questions, Jake.
I'm good on that.
So a couple takeaways. I think we'll try to recap this. I'm terrible at recaps. We're going to try it.
That's good.
I think that one, chase excellence.
Yeah, for
sure. If you chase excellence or pursue doing things right, then you can be successful.
Yeah.
Take the risk. If you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, if you're wanting to go out and do something on your own, you have to take the risk. If you calculate a risk, right? But if you stare at the risk and you're fearful, it's probably the right move.
If you're not nervous about the risk,
if you ain't nervous about the risk,
rethink it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you every single time that I've done something here, I was nervous about it.
Yeah.
Because it was different than building houses for me. Because like building houses for me, like don't get me wrong, I can do it, but it's not my true passion.
Yeah.
I can build a house, no problem. But I also knew that like, man, we've been doing this for years. My dad's been doing it. My grandpa did it. I could pick up the phone. I called you. I don't know how many times. There's all these resources.
Right.
And but the risk factor for me was not there. This, with the gym, it was something of my own.
Yeah.
So it felt way different. And so whenever I took the risk to do things, I felt the weight of it. And it was like, woo, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different whenever you're putting yourself on the line like that.
Yeah.
So take the risk, chase excellence, boom.
Go to Brew and Bake.
Go to Brew.
Go to Brew and Bake.
Yeah, go to Brew and Bake.
Yep.
Eat the chocolate cake.
There you go.
Still got to get in there and try that white chocolate mocha. It's like my favorite drink.
I know, you got to do it.
You said it was your favorite?
That's my go-to.
Take the risk then.
If I'm not doing the keto iced coffee, which by the way they call the Raj now.
The Raj.
The Raj?
Yeah.
That's what I drink.
That's
your drink.
What makes it a keto drink?
Because
there's no
there's heavy cream, so there's no carbs in it.
Oh, no carbs.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's higher fat.
Yeah, higher.
But it's only a little bit of cream in there. It's not much.
Gotcha.
But
still drinking the Gibraltar?
I've drank some of those, but it's not my go-to.
I like the Gibraltar. I mean, I always give you a hard time. It's not $7 about a joke.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting this much coffee, Raj, for $7.
I know. Yeah.
It's not $7. I think it's like $3, but still
Profitable from day one.
You gotta be.
You do it right.
You do it right. If you do it right, they'll pay $7 for this much coffee.
Markup, you got it.
You can't listen to the naysayers either, because there was the one in the family who said nobody's going to buy a $5 coffee in Lake Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a new
people told
deal right there.
I'm telling you right now, whenever I started talking about what I was going to charge for membership rates here, people, family members, everybody told me I lost my mind. You're crazy. Nobody ever paid that for a gym membership.
Right.
I'm like, we're trying to do something different. This is not the same.
That's right.
So anyways, naysayers, get them out of here.
Yep. Don't listen to them.
Thanks, Raj. This is good, dude. Loved it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So we normally end with the high five, and if you want one, you can have one.
Yeah, man.
That's the weirdest thing when you say that.
What's that?
It's so weird when you say it.
If you want one, you can have one.
Yeah, there you go.
High five.